Welcome to the weekly Gun Channel's Monday night show called Lock and Load. Got a load of prepper news for you today. So let's lock and load. It's been an interesting week in weather news. And once again, I forgot to turn off the external volume, so I'm getting double of everything. Yeah, so I want to say hi to Art of Prepping out there in the external. Well, it's not, I wouldn't say that living on a volcano is dangerous. I'd say that living in Malibu is dangerous because of the wildfires. I had a place burned down in Malibu, and living on a volcano seems pretty safe. Although after the weather news I'm about to tell you from outer space, okay, first piece of news is we've got a coronal mass expulsion heading for Earth. And there seems to be some difference of opinions over when it will hit, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, or Thursday. So the good news is so far the Earth's magnetic field looks strong enough to limit the effects of this particular coronal mass expulsion, which you're seeing here. It's that big sunspot right in the middle along the equatorial region. Just threw out a bunch of mass expulsion of solar material right at the planet Earth. So if you want to put everything in a Faraday cage, it's probably not necessarily necessary for this one. Hi, Jesse James. See you out there on the external. All right. And that brings us up to the next topic of the space weather news. The magnetic reversal. Our Earth's magnetosphere is weakening. And you can check out this website, magneticreversal.org. So that doesn't mean the planet is flipping upside down. It means the North Pole is headed south, and the South Pole is headed north. And it's called a magnetic flip. But the interesting thing is that you would think that the poles would stay on the exact opposite side of the planet, but that is not the case. They're heading right towards each other. And depending on where that happens, like if it happens in the Ring of Fire, you could get some incredible volcanic events and earthquakes. So the thing is, and I'm sure everybody's heard the story of Noah's Ark, but what happens is the Earth's magnetosphere protects the planet from solar wind and cosmic rays, and it's been getting weaker over time, and it's dramatically getting weaker. And I don't know what that has. I'm not a geologist, so I can't tell you exactly why that's happening. I can only tell you that the news is that it is happening, and that is the news. And so what does that have to do with Noah's Ark and incredible floods like that, biblical type of floods? Is that there's this thing called solar wind that comes from the sun, and that's contains a lot of hydrogen particles. And the Earth has a lot of oxygen. And when you combine hydrogen and oxygen, that's called H2O, water. So basically, you're like getting rain from outer space. I mean, it forms right on the edge, and instead of just evaporation, condensation, and falling from the Earth's oceans, this has most likely happened before. And so it's just part of the space news I'm reporting. And here's the facts, fast facts from magneticreversal.org. The South Pole has already left Antarctica, and the North Pole is racing across the Arctic Ocean. Magnetic poles are getting ready to flip. The magnetic fields began weakening in 1600. That's an interesting year because we're in a solar minimum now, but every 400 years, there's a grand solar minimum where the Earth gets really quiet. and or the sun gets really quiet. Sorry, and there isn't as many sunspots, and the radiation from the sun goes out. So that will have an effect on Earth. Let's see. The magnetic field will weaken 10% from the 1800s to 2000. The Earth's magnetic field was weakening 5% per century, but now it's weakening 5% per decade. And this is, as far as I know, is a completely natural phenomenon. Let's see. Magnetic reversals can occur in less than 100 years. Magnetic reversals can lead to extinction events, and may cause biblical floods, which is what I was talking about. The hydrogen from the solar wind combining with oxygen from the earth, and you get lots of water, H2O, right? All right, so that's all the great news from outer space. Don't know if anybody has any comments on that. And why I'm moving on to a volcano in the middle of all this is because it's a really nice house up there that I made an offer on, and we'll see if that actually gets accepted or not really soon. All right, let's see. Oops, comments on here. So what Squib is doing on there, he's got an IMM injection. He's at work with his IMM machine. Injection molding something. Sorry, you just told me 5 minutes ago, and my brain isn't working.
It's called an injection molding machine. Yeah, it's plastic injection molding. Yeah, I'm at work again. Yeah, I still have my job.
Yay!
So what they told me was that I screwed up 2 of the machines because I followed their orders. So they're not going to hold it against me because I was doing exactly what they told me to do, how they told me to do it. So they've got this list of all the maintenance guys they had before me. Apparently, second shift doesn't last that long. Yeah, so and they've got all these horror stories about these guys, and some of the things that they've done, yeah, they were pretty blatantly, destructive, or these guys said they could fix stuff and had no mechanical ability at all. And then other things, it's like, dude, you fired somebody over that? Really? So I really wasn't sure where it was going to go. But the next day, they're like, nope, you did what we showed you to do. But now we know for sure that the guy that was here before you was never doing the test. It's a monthly inspection on the machine. Was never doing the monthly inspections on those machines, because if he was, they would have broke the same way. We would have caught it sooner, and we would have changed the procedure. And they said, going forward, we're going to change the procedure. No, don't do this thing that we told you to do anymore, because this has happened 3 times. And but it's really interesting that the guy before me, I guess, was just checking off on the list and not doing any of the inspections at all.
Well, it's easier to check a box than actually do something, I suppose.
I guess, but it's not really that hard. It's just a little bit tedious. You have to crawl in a tight space. It's a little messy and loud and hot, but whatever. But I will say this, though. Before the show, we were talking, and you were saying, it's probably just easier for them to keep me than to hire somebody else, and that probably has something to do with it, too.
Yeah, well, I think they made the right decision for once.
Well, no, I mean it's nice. It's nice to know that they were objective about it and said, look, you did the right thing, but the wrong thing happened, and that's kind of refreshing, because sometimes you don't get that at a job. You get people that are just like to point fingers and whatever. But on the other hand, this isn't something where, I mean, if they said you're fired, I'd be all devastated. I'd just go out and get another job. So
yeah, right. Well,
now as far as you living on the volcano, you are Hawaii Volcano Squad.
Well, so I'm going to be like a mile from the caldera. I mean, almost less than a mile from the caldera. Yeah, I could just walk over and spit in it.
Well, I was going to say you could save money on trash pickup, because you could just dump your trash in there, and nobody would know.
Well, there's a actual dump transfer station. That's what they call them, and just about 3 or 4 miles away from where the house is. So I'll just dump it where they want me to dump it.
If I had an active volcano, I would dump all my garbage in it.
Well, the problem would be hiking down from the caldera edge into where the lava is. So it's easier just to drive right up to somewhere where you could dump it. But it would burn. So they have a landfill. They have a dump where I'm legally supposed to do it. So I'll just do what they dump it where they want. They tell me to dump it. I'll save the volcano for sacrificing virgins if I could find one.
There you go. So would you be opening up the broadcast instead of saying from the Pineapple Pentagon, would you be saying live from the caldera or something like that?
Well, I'm a mile from that caldera if that deal goes through, but I'll open it the same way. The Pineapple Pentagon is wherever I am, because I run the Hawaii Volcano Squad for whatever that's worth. But it's a nice place. It's got 10,000 gallon water tank and dehumidification system, and it's got a septic system already built in. And there's one thing that came up that I apparently I'm not allowed. I'm not going to be able. A fence auger isn't going to be good enough because there's not enough topsoil. I'm going to go. It's going to hit lava rock right away. Apparently, is what I've been told. So, basically you have to hire somebody or rent, at least get a pneumatic drill to drill into the lava rock. And there is a place that rents those, but I've never used a pneumatic drill. So I'll have to drill through lava rock. So I'm going to just pay somebody to do that and at least put up the fence posts, galvanized steel posts, and then build the fencing myself to save money. But since I've never actually, have you ever worked a pneumatic drill?
Small ones.
Through lava rock or through rock? I mean,
no. Really, no.
Okay. Well.
So here's the thing. Why don't you just skip putting in fence posts and put up hedgehogs and concertina wire?
Because the dog could get through that. This is a fence primarily to keep a dog in. Because dogs.
Get one of them shot collars.
Shot collars. Just put up chicken wire and electrify it, then it'll stay away from the fence, right? Nah, I don't think so. I'll go with I'll just probably hire somebody that.
No, hold up a minute.
You
wanted Dusty to get hedgehogs on his farm.
Well, he's got acres and acres and acres, and I don't have acres and acres.
No. You got to put your money where your mouth is.
I'm moving on to the volcano. What more do you want?
Well, I'm saying you got to put up hedgehogs too.
I don't have enough room to put it in the front. I mean, you saw the front yard. Where am I going to put it? In the driveway? The only person I'm going to keep out is me.
You can get creative.
Well, I'll see about hedgehogs at some point. I mean, but it seems to me that for that area, the strategic choke point is right on the main highway, in the entrance to the Volcano Golf and Country Club. It seems to me like all I need to do is set up a roadblock. If the shit really hits the fan, in and out, or be Mr. Friendly and get the support of all the neighbors, and then we could just set up a roadblock if we have to close it down so nobody can go in or out that doesn't live there. But that would seem the best way, would be just to block it off, because there's no through traffic. The thing I like, one thing that's nice about that area, besides the golf course and being in a nice area, is that there's, unlike if I lived on the ocean or a lot of places, it's like there's any criminal could just drive right by through the neighborhood, and it would just be because people always drive by, and people don't always drive into this neighborhood unless they have a reason to be there. So just no through traffic, really. There's no through traffic unless somebody's wants to go up all the way to the top of Mauna Loa, which is a volcano in the other direction, and there's a gate that's locked there anyway to do that. But past the volcano winery. But I'm really happy. I hope the deal goes through, because it'll just be a really fun. It'll just be a lot better than the condo, especially if the shit hits the fan. 96 sheeple who are completely unprepared and who resent each other the hell out of each other. It's like it'll be chaos if the shit hits the fan in this condo complex. So I'm glad I won't be here for it. But I don't know. Deal has to go through first. So waiting to hear if they can accept the offer. But yeah, drilling. Somebody's going to get it. I'm going to need a pneumatic drill to build that fence. And so basically, the reason for the fence is so I can get a dog and not have it run wild through the golf course and annoy all my neighbors. Yeah. The good thing about the condo was that when I'm not like that anymore, but I could go to every bar, get as drunk as I wanted to, and I wouldn't have to drive drunk. I could walk home to every bar from every bar in Kona, but I don't go out to every bar and get plastered like I used to. I mean, you know, you get older, you don't do the same things you did when you were a kid.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So, but we'll see. It's just a matter of time. But as far as the whole grand solar minimum thing, it's getting colder if you live in certain areas. One thing that will happen if the magnetic poles flip is that the most noticeable thing is that your toilet bowl will flush in the opposite direction than it's currently flushing. But and so instead of like if you're in the northern hemisphere, it goes counterclockwise, I believe, and in the southern hemisphere, it goes clockwise. And the same thing with low depression, low pressure areas of weather. The cyclones go counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere, and that'll flip, I believe. But and the other thing is that if the magnetosphere continues weakening the way it is, Earth will be extremely vulnerable to the sun. Instead of just like an EMP attack generated by nuclear weapons, it could just be the sun. I don't have a dog yet. But I want to get one because it's when you pet a dog, it's good for your blood pressure. It releases a specific chemical in you and the dog that lowers blood pressure. So that's one of the things I'm working on. Plus, it'll get me up every morning to take it for a walk, and that worked very well for my father when he was recovering from his heart issues. So I think I've been looking at the dog show. It's been on the Nat Geo Wild, the kennel show, the kennel dog show, Westminster Dog Show. Yeah, Westminster Kennel Dog Show. All kinds of cool dogs. The Afghan dogs look like they have too much hair, but way too much hair. But I'll probably do a rescue if I could find a housebroken dog that's. I mean, I like saving a life and all. Of course, puppies, raising a dog from a puppy would be nice too. But that dog show, I was just having a whole hell of a lot of fun watching it on the Westminster Dog Show because the dogs were just great. And I think it's going to be on tomorrow as well on Nat Geo Wild. So, but yeah, that'll be for my health. I don't have a dog yet, so I'll try and get one that'll make sense for me and can carry. I'll get some kind of prepper backpack, dog backpack or something, so he can carry like ammo or something. I don't know. Carry some prepper items with him. And yeah, we're gonna put in a UV ultraviolet water filter, and I already ordered a 1 gallon distilling countertop distiller, water distiller. So there's a 10,000 gallon water tank on the property and it's filling. And so the water just comes from the rain. There's enough rain to keep it filled constantly. So I don't have to pay water bills. Just have to pay the electric bill. It's on the grid. There's electric, solar, or I mean, there's electric, there's high-speed internet, cable, TV, and there's a telephone line. So I think I'll actually get a landline. Hi, Mike. Mike Helton, Survival and Prepping is out there. Art of Prepping is out there. Well, in between the UV filter and the water distiller, that's probably enough. But especially because I have a CPAP machine and I needed distilled water anyway. But it's better than having to haul it up from the store. So just distill the rainwater and I should be good to go. I don't know if I'm going to like run bleach through the whole plumbing system. Nobody's been living there for quite some time. It's been vacant. The owners live on Maui. That deal goes through on a house. So in case you were late, the prepping news that I was talking about earlier in the show was, let me click on the links one more time. Let me get over there. Was we got a CME headed towards Earth, the coronal mass expulsion, but so far the it looks like the magnetosphere is strong enough that it won't cause like a solar EMP. It's supposed to hit either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. There seems to be a dispute when, but it is coming. So that was the first piece of news. The second piece of news, get back to for anybody that joined late. Here's a screen share of it's this big along the equatorial region of the sun, right in the middle here. That's where it came from. It's headed right for Earth, but the magnetosphere so far is strong enough. And here's an interesting website you might want to check out, magneticreversal.org. So basically, the other thing I was talking about is that the Earth's magnetosphere is weakening rapidly, and so we won't have as much protection from solar wind, solar mass expulsions, sun flares, or cosmic rays from the universe. And also the solar wind will eventually come, if we won't be very much protection from solar wind, which means the hydrogen particles in the solar wind will combine with water, with the oxygen, from the Earth, and hydrogen and oxygen forms water, and then the biblical flood. So, and we are we're heading every 400 years. There's a grand solar minimum. The last one was in the 1600s, the Munder solar minimum, and it's been 400 years. So it looks like not only are we in the 11-year minimum cycle, but of the sun, but a 400-year grand minimum. So there'll be a little less radiation from the sun. So it will be colder. All right, so that's all the weather news in case you joined late. And like I was saying, I made an offer on a house up on the volcano. So hopefully, although I don't understand how cosmic rays interact with the geomagnetic thing and somehow make the Earth more prone to earthquakes and volcanoes, but I'm not a geologist, so maybe somebody can explain it to me. But that's what I've been hearing. So, all right. That's about everything from Hawaii. I hope everybody liked my Punaluu Beach video that I posted. I took that on the way to look at that new house that I made an offer on today. And I took that video last week when I drove up there to look at the place and a few other places. So it might be a strange time to borrow money for a house, but I don't know if everything's the way the market is. If there's going to and the debt bomb of the government, there's going to be a gigantic hyperinflation or deflation. I don't know what's going to happen, but house prices are going to go up or down, or everything's in a bubble. Too hard to figure out. I guess you just plug along and do the best you can. I will be looking forward to getting out of the condo and up into the country and away from Kona almost doesn't count as a city because it's more like, for most people, Kona would be like getting off a freeway off ramp and there's a 7-Eleven and a gas station and a grocery store and a couple houses. But it's not, there's not, but on this island, it counts as a city. So it's very, I'll be better off up in the country if the shit hits the fan. So I wanted to talk about the whole thing about, we talked about in Edge's chat about that whole thing. You really, for me, it's like I have a 1911, but I really don't like the grip safety on it. But you think that's like un-American or something?
No, I catch a lot of crap from people because I like external safeties, and the grip safety for me is just one extra thing. It's when you carry it locked and cocked, it helps. I don't have a problem, even though when I used to carry, I typically carried with no round in the chamber. I have carried locked and cocked before. It's not a big deal. It just depends on the situation, what I'm going to carry that day and how I'm going to carry it. But
as long as it doesn't go off unless you don't touch the trigger, then you just don't touch the trigger and you don't have a problem. That's why that's the way I like it. I don't like thumb safeties, grip safety. I just like no safeties.
My thing about the safeties is, my opinion on that is, the people who don't like them don't know how to use them. And they have the right not to like them. Here's all you got to do is leave the damn safety off.
A grip safety?
No. The thumb safety.
Yeah.
The grip safety. If you're not holding the gun in a way that you could shoot it, if you're not holding the grip, then you're not engaging the grip safety. So I guess if you wanted to try to hold the gun kind of funny, I don't know, you take your thumb and your forefinger and hold it by the base of the magazine and take your other forefinger.
My 1911 doesn't have that little extension. I don't know if you call it a beaver tail or whatever it is. It's just like a smooth grip safety. And if you don't grip it just right, then sometimes it won't, disengage. So, but I don't get as much trigger time on my 1911 because there's no indoor handgun range here. So I guess I'm more comfortable with my Glock. I really am. And
a lot of people are. They like that safe action trigger. And I mean, I've got one gun with a safe action trigger, but it also has an external safety too. I like having that.
Yeah, I thought the thing was that Browning put all those safeties on because it was a requirement of the military.
And I believe that is the case because typically the military will not adopt a firearm without an external safety. The thing about it is, you have the option to leave the thing off all the time. And the people who say, it's going to fail, it's going to fail. What do you got, a high point? I mean, geez, oh, Pete's. How's it going to miraculously fail? And if you're that fat-fingered that you're going to throw the safety to the on position while you're shooting, dude, maybe you need to work on your coordination a little bit. But typically, I leave the safeties on all my firearms off when they're being stored, when I'm at the range, that sort of thing. But I want it there. I want it there as an option. I tried to compare it in a chat. I tried to compare it to a seatbelt. Some people don't like to wear seatbelts, but I think all cars should have them. That way, if you choose to wear a seatbelt, it's there. But if you want to buy a gun that don't have an external safety, go ahead. I'm not saying I would never own one without, but I prefer to have it. I like having it there, and a lot of people just don't. And I think it just comes down to they don't know how to use it. That's all it is. They just don't know how to. The people that say it's going to break, then obviously they buy nothing but crap guns, and then they're going to be worried about more than just the safety breaking.
Well, I think it was just one less thing that could go wrong. I mean, that's one thing I liked about, I bought the Ruger LC9S Pro subcompact, and Ruger usually has all their guns have way too many safeties, a magazine disconnect, and but they took all that off of it because they wanted the police to buy it as a backup weapon, and so it has no safeties on it basically, and I love it.
There's another feature I like. I like magazine disconnects. I do. A lot of people don't. They want to remove them. Go ahead, do it. I don't care. It's your gun. Do whatever you want. You know, if you were like, hey, I'm going to sell you my gun, but, you know, I removed the external safety and took off the magazine disconnect. All right, well, I'm not buying it. I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care. If you don't like the fact that I like a magazine disconnect and external safety, I don't really care. And if you have those things on your gun and I don't care for them, I don't care if you care that I don't care. Just, whatever.
Yeah, I don't care what you prefer. It's just like I don't want to be called un-American because I have a Glock. You know?
I didn't say un-American. I didn't say un-American. I just said that if you have a problem with a grip safety on a 1911, you're obviously not holding it properly.
I don't have a problem. It's just I wish it wasn't there. Is all. So
I'm sure they sell them without. I'm sure they sell models without them. I don't know.
Well, it was my first gun ever, so I didn't even know anything about it when I bought it. All I know is it looked cool, and I wanted one. I was like 22 years old or something when I bought it. So that was ancient history almost. Like back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. When I bought that thing, $400, and it's worth more now.
For me, there's nothing to flip the thing off and press the trigger. I mean, I'm not saying it's necessarily a fluid motion like I'm Bruce Lee or something, but if I had the muzzle pointed downrange and, you know, I was holding somebody at bay or something like that, I might throw the safety on because my finger's on the trigger. And you say, no, leave the safety off and put your finger off to the side. I can flip the safety off and pull the trigger faster than I can leave the safety off and put my finger in the trigger guard. That's just me. Somebody else will go, no, I can do. Okay, you do it your way. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, well, I have both guns, and I guess, I hope I get more trigger time on my 1911 than I have been. I did meet somebody who has a few acres, like 50 acres up there in Volcano, and invited me to go shooting. So I hope that happens when I move up there, assuming my deal goes through and they accept my offer. So we'll see.
Yeah, it would be great if you could go shooting with your neighbor, you know, a lot more often than what you're able to right now. And I think you would enjoy it more because right now it's kind of a hassle for you.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, I gotta parade all my stuff up and down, like, you know, billion flights of stairs to get to the car, and then when I come back, I gotta carry all, you know, boxes of lead ammo up up a lot of stairs, and have to go through the whole thing where all the people in the condo see me carrying guns up, and they're like, "Oh no, he has guns. He's a lunatic." I mean, I don't care what they think, especially because I'm not going to be here anymore. But I'm really glad to be getting out of the whole condo situation. I'm going to miss the pool and the pretty girls by the pool, but there's a beach there with pretty girls not too far from.
Just have a party at your house? What did you say? You used liquid nitrogen and they couldn't find it because you were in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that was if I bought the place in the forest, which I didn't because it had mold in it.
No. You threw some crazy party in California.
Oh, that's when I was living. I rented a guest house on a 5-acre estate in Malibu, and I had like.
So do the same thing, but at your new place.
I don't think I want to have that many people. The thing about it, it wasn't my place, so I didn't care. I had like 300 people over there. The owner was this Egyptian guy that happened to be in talking about the place in Malibu, who left his like 13-year-old son from Scandinavia in charge of his 5-acre estate. And so, yeah, I had a party, and we had like a rock band, and we were playing Van Halen, and there was like, it was just basically an outdoor thing. And so actually the neighbors called the police because there's this rock band going at 2 a.m. playing Van Halen. And I had this huge bowl of toxic sludge is what I called it. It was like Hawaiian punch, dry ice, and like every kind of alcohol poured into it. So when the police finally came, they were upset because the band had taken a break and they couldn't find the place because there's no lights. And so I had this cup of this toxic sludge, and there's some dry ice, so there's like steam coming out of the cup. I could barely stand up. I was so drunk. And so it was a funny conversation.
So what the audience really wants to know is, okay, Van Halen. Okay, so is it Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth?
There wasn't any singer at all. It was just
no. I'm saying your preference. Hagar or Roth?
Well, I played guitar, so as long as Van Halen was there, it didn't matter.
Man.
Hey, man, I'm giving you the guitar player's perspective, man. As long as Van Halen was playing guitar, it didn't matter who was singing.
So you don't care who the front man is. I understand.
Right. It was all about the guitar solo, man. And basically, at the party, there was this guy called Taz, and he had this incredible tube Marshall stack, and it was like this huge stack of amps. We had a live drummer and this chick bass player. And it was like most of the people that I invited didn't come because they were all post-production people who used to show up at my studio, and they just showed up because they got paid to show up. But I had a friend who ran a recording studio, and he invited all his Hollywood friends, and so I had like, there were so many people at that party, and there was this the estate had this gigantic trampoline that somebody installed, and so there was like people bouncing off of this trampoline. I mean, it was a huge trampoline. They were bouncing like 30 feet in the air, 40 feet in the air off of it. It's funny as shit.
So no party like this at your own home, but if it's a rental, party like you stole it.
Yeah, when the police showed up, they went to the main house, which there was a 13-year-old kid, and the 13-year-old kid tells him, "It's Steve, it's Steve." Yeah, it was funny, man. Mike says he prefers David Lee Roth. Well, I just think they didn't like each other. So it sucks to be in a band or in a business association, which is what it was. They did it because they were making money doing it. I mean, yeah, there's art involved, but they knew they needed them. But they didn't like him. So I've been in that kind of situation before, and if you can keep your mind, as long as you keep your mind focused on the paychecks, then I guess you can kind of tolerate it. But eventually, it just becomes so annoying that it doesn't work. So I think they got him in for that. They wanted that Me Live magic. They got Roth back, and they lied to everybody to do that. So I think Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth were on that one song on their last album. But I guess Van Halen has always been about Eddie Van Halen playing guitar. So, I mean, I went to the Guitar Institute of Technology when I was a kid. So, and I still have a Marshall, a solid state Marshall, and sitting in storage in California. So I don't know if I'm ever going to move my stuff from California that's in storage to Hawaii. I don't know, because it costs a small fortune to ship anything. So it's like if I buy a container, but I'll deal with that eventually.
But see, you could buy the container, have it delivered to your house, and then you could turn it into a bunker.
I could turn it into a rental build it into a rental and then just rent it out for money.
What are you going to do? Cut a window in it and put some siding on it and call it a rental?
There is like a housing crunch. I mean, in Hawaii. I mean, there on the Big Island, there's just not enough housing. So rental costs of rentals is going up. The cost of houses, I'm not so sure about. Certainly, I'm not getting what I paid for this condo back when I sell it, but I just want to get the hell out of here. So I don't care how much what the loss is on this place. The roof's too hot. The board of directors are morons, and I just glad to get out of here without being killed by the goddamn 180-degree roof and without having to commit any acts of violence.
It almost sounds like somebody trying to get out of California.
I'm trying to get my, I'm trying to get my folks to move out of California, but I don't know. My dad wants to move to Arizona, but my mom wants to stay in California. So I don't think this will make a difference to them. But I heard that there's a new law in Arizona that you can pay your taxes with Bitcoin in Arizona.
Oh my goodness.
And if you're new to the show, we always have an argument over cryptos once a week. So there it is.
Yeah, it's almost a given. If we don't, somebody will wonder what's up, right?
Yeah. But anyway.
And welcome to the External Safety and Cryptocurrency Show on Monday night.
Yeah. So is it really cold in Michigan right now? How cold is it?
Nah, it's only like 25, I think.
25?
We got a ton of snow Friday and Saturday and even a little bit on Sunday. And I think it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday. It's going to be 40 and rainy, so that snow's going to melt. Then it's going to refreeze overnight, so we'll have a sheet of ice in the morning. But yeah, 25 is not too bad, but it's enough to keep the heat on.
Yeah.
The winter this year hasn't been that bad. I mean, we get a couple days out of the year where we get a foot of snow and the road commission doesn't plow and they shut down the schools because the buses can't get through the neighborhoods. They can get down the main streets, but not through the subdivisions and stuff like that. It happens. And what's funny is I've noticed a trend with my school district is it almost seems like it snows every Super Bowl Sunday, and that Monday after they close the schools because of snow, and I'm going, yeah, snow. Because I've seen teachers, they're normal people like everybody else once they get home. So I'm sure there's plenty of them having Super Bowl parties and everything else. So
Patriot in the Dark is saying that the fifth Monday in a row there's been no school in Michigan.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, it's well, let's see. I want to say we had maybe 3 Mondays without school so far this year. But
it's been snowed out or colded out or
no. There's just the snow creates trouble for the buses getting through the neighborhoods.
I see.
So that's all it is. But I mean, really, it's not that big of a deal. They put extra days into the school year for snow days, and at the end of the year, if they have used too many snow days, they might extend the school year a little bit or something, or they try to play catch up. It depends on what the teachers union wants to do, and things like that. But I mean, overall, we've had years where we've had negative 20 degrees for days and days and days, and we've had feet and feet of snow and things like that. It hasn't really been that bad, but it's enough that it just annoys the heck out of me. So,
well, and your kids haven't driven you crazy because you're at work.
Well, no, I mean, the kids are the kids. They're gonna do stuff like they're kids. They do. I mean, they drive me crazy, but I love them. But I got good kids, so I'm one of the lucky ones. I mean, yeah, they need to do more chores around the house, and I'd like to see a little bit more ambition. But overall, they're good kids, and I mean, them staying home from school, that just means that they can sleep in. They don't care. I remember the few school days that we got off. It'd be funny. The school district I went to high school in up here, everybody would be closed for 3 or 4 counties, and we'd be open. We'd be open no matter what. So I didn't like that, but yeah, the kids like getting the time off because of the snow. They got to play catch up, and Friday's spelling test should have been done today, but they closed them again today because the roads are still too bad for the buses to get up. They'll be to school tomorrow. I'm not worried about it, but that's a normal thing here in Michigan. But it could be colder. We could have a lot more snow. It could be a lot worse. So this winter hasn't been too bad.
I wonder how long it'll be winter for it again. Is it going to be longer more than usual?
That's something that is probably that annoys me more so than when we do get the negative below 0 days, or when we do get a foot of snow or stuff like that, is that winter doesn't stop here until the beginning of May. And it really doesn't get warm until Memorial Day. And it sucks because I was a kid growing up down south and winter was over in March. And March, we still get snow, we get freezing rain. I mean, it's crap when it's April. April 20th is the first day of spring. Or no, March 20th is the first day of spring. So, I mean, it's April, and, we should be having everything turn green and flowers bloom and stuff like that. And we might get a mild day and the flowers start to come up. The next day we get frost and it kills everything. And it's just, I don't like the fact that winter just seems to last forever here.
Well, are you ever going to geographically relocate at some point in the future?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we will. We're just waiting for the kids to graduate school. We were gonna do it when the older one graduated high school. Now we're thinking we'll just wait until the younger one has graduated. It'll give us more time and more time to save up. Plus, not to mention, I mean, he's doing good in school. He's got friends. He's not opposed to moving. He's Mom, Dad, you want to move? Okay, let's move. I mean, he's been out west. He likes it out there, but.
Do you want any of your kids to be in the Marine Corps like you were?
I do, but if they don't, I'm not going to hold it against them. That's their choice. My dad said, don't do it because of me, son. Do it because you want to do it. So same thing with my kids. I mean, if they join any branch, it doesn't even matter. I mean, I would prefer that they join the Marine Corps. It's a family tradition. But if they don't, I'm not going to be disappointed in them. And if they don't join the military at all, I'm not going to be disappointed. As long as they turn out to be good men. I mean, that's all that really matters. But we'll probably wait until the younger one has graduated high school to relocate. And, I mean, if I stay in this plastic injection molding crap, they do that everywhere. It's not just automotive. I mean, they make stuff out of plastic everywhere. So if I had enough time here working with this stuff on my resume, it'd look good out there.
Where do you think, what state are you thinking about moving to?
Well, Arizona's in the lead, but it's not the only place. I mean, if the laws weren't so crappy in California and the cost of living wasn't so high, California would even be on the list, but it isn't. So yeah. Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, or Utah, maybe Texas.
Right.
But
well,
that's that's a long ways away. So
a lot of people in Arizona on gun channels, so you'd have friends, but before you even got there, so
yeah, that would be nice. But it's really about we want to live somewhere where we don't have winter anymore. So
that's what I did.
If we did, yeah, and I mean exactly what you always have nice days and warm weather and things like that. Now, if we did get a little bit here or there, I mean, as long as it's not 6 months of gray, cold ice, road salt, potholes, scraping off your car, warming up your car, sliding around, we don't want none of that. So if we ended up getting a little bit of snow because of the elevation, or, we got some 40-degree days or something like that, or, a couple days out of the year we had to clean frost, no big deal. But we prefer the heat over the cold. Plus, we just love the way it looks out west, the open desert and the mountains and all that. We don't have none of that in Michigan. People out here, they love the forests. They love we got tons of lakes. Obviously, we have the Great Lakes, right? But we have tons of inland lakes. I mean, there are more boats here probably than in Hawaii. And even though the cost of living is a little bit high, the pay scale up here is pretty good. But unless you do winter sports, everybody here complains about the winter, and it's worse in Minnesota. So I mean, we could it's worse in upper state New York. We could have a lot worse conditions to deal with.
Yeah, John Z was telling me about New York after Edge's chat. We talked for a while, and he wants to move out of New York. So I guess everybody wants to move somewhere warmer. But yeah. Geographic relocation is definitely a prepper thing of
Well, that's another thing. We would like to live out in the country, and we would like to have the ability to go off grid if we wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like that house I made an offer on. It doesn't have solar yet, and I'd eventually need to put in some kind of solar panels and stuff.
But see, putting in solar, wind, battery system, putting in a rain catchment, putting in a water tank, even hauling water with a trailer and filling, all that is stuff I can do. I'm not one of these guys who I have no idea how to do anything. I can do all that crap. So it's not that big of a deal for me.
Well, yeah, I'm not as used to living off grid as most people are. I mean, I have some skills, but luckily for me, the catchment is already set up. The water falls right out of the sky, and I don't have to do nothing. So, but installing a solar panel, I mean, I need to put in a UV filter on it, and so you have to filter some water. Other than that, I don't have to do nothing.
For me, it would be the time and the cost of materials. Otherwise, doing all the install on all that is no big deal. And it'd be great to be able to, you know, the solar panels and the windmills are providing enough power that we can just go off grid. I'll just crank the air conditioning up all day long and not care because I'm not paying anything for electricity. I mean, yeah, you got to maintain that stuff and whatnot, but that's stuff that I can do. So everybody's like, oh, it's 115 degrees. What are you going to do? Let's see. We're going to set out by the pool. We're going to go in the house and cool off. We're going to have, you know, a covered back deck, so we'll have some shade. Hydrate.
Just make sure your roof. Just make sure you buy a place with insulation under the roof shingles. That's all I have to say.
Well, we could even get shingles roof shingles that are solar panels. They double the solar panels. So there's all kinds of things. And I'm not saying it's just move in and on day 2 I've got free electricity. It's not like that. But it's something that I would like to do. And I'm the kind of person that will work on projects around the house when I'm not at work. So
luckily, I don't think I'm going to need any air conditioning up there because it's at 4,000 feet elevation on the top of the volcano. So
yeah, see, I don't know how hot it'll get, or if you're going to have a lot of wind and it's just going to keep you cool. I'm not really that familiar with Hawaii's.
Well, it's weather. Microclimates. It's microclimates. Every little area has its own microclimate in Hawaii. So once you figure out what your microclimate is, I mean, at 4,000 feet, it gets cold at night. So it's got a propane-powered fireplace, and that's the only thing the propane is used for there right now. So that'll keep the place warm at night, and it just won't get that hot during the day. I was up there. It was very comfortable, and I made sure when I checked out the house, it was like I said, I don't want to be there first thing in the morning. I want to see what it's like in when it's like noon or 1 o'clock or something like that. So that's when I saw it. I think I saw that house at 2, so it had plenty of time. If it was going to get hot, I would have seen it, and it wasn't. It was cool. So I think it'll work out really nice.
Well, you definitely got to be comfortable. I mean, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be some sort of natural disaster that's prevalent in certain areas. There's always going to be things to deal with as far as, you know, laws or government or taxes. You're going to have to deal with critters or pests or what. Well, in every state, it's everywhere.
At 4,000 elevation, there's like no mosquitoes. The mosquitoes.
Well, there's something.
That at lower elevations, there'll be, but not at that elevation. So like, there's very few bugs at that elevation. So, because it's right at the top. Lower down, there are, but at that elevation, not so much. And I don't think there's going to be any wild boar making it from the forest to the golf course, because I'm next to a golf course pretty much, or at least it's across the street from that particular house. But yeah, I hope it works out so much. I like it up there, and there's a bunch of nice restaurants. I'm gonna be happy if that works out, and I'll get to spend more time up on the volcano around the caldera, and probably take a lot of good videos of nighttime videos of the volcano and lava and all that kind of stuff for the channel. Anyway. All right. So other than on the firearms stuff, I'm just going to throw in what we talked about, what I talked about on Edge's chat, that one case that the Firearm Policy Coalition won in the Third Circuit in California. Briefly, screen share that really quick from the appellate court. Okay, push all the right buttons. 1 second. Share. All right. So in our little Second Amendment corner over here, this is the case Alvin Doe et al. Versus the Xavier Becerra, the Attorney General of California, I guess. And California lost this case to the Firearm Policy Coalition. And let's see, it says right here, appeal from a judgment of the Superior Court of Sacramento County reversed with direction. So what the state of California had done was say, even if you have a curio and relic license, FFL license for curio and relic, that you couldn't buy more than one handgun in a 30-day period, even if you had a CNR license. And so basically there was no law that actually said that. The California Department of Justice just didn't want to allow anybody to do that. So they sent out a letter to everybody with a CNR license, curio and relic license, that they couldn't buy more than one handgun in a 30-day period, no matter, if it was from the 1800s or anything, it didn't matter. So, and if they did, they would get in some kind of trouble. And basically the third appellate, Third Court of Appeal, State of California, Third Appellate District said, nope, you have to have a law. If you want to be a legislator, then run for the legislature. You can't just have a letter from the California Department of Justice making up a law without there actually being a law. So it was a small Second Amendment victory, but I guess we'll take it. For now, the Supreme Court doesn't seem to be taking Second Amendment cases for the moment. So this case, the Firearm Policy Coalition has a YouTube channel, and you can check that out. That's one of the recent organizations that I joined. It's like for $20, whatever, you get a membership card, or 25, I forget, and a PVC patch, and for the Firearm Policy Coalition, and some stickers. And you get their emails of which are convenient if you're into Second Amendment activism, because they set up stuff where you just click and fill in your name and address, and they automatically send a letter about relevant legislation to your representatives, and it makes it really easy to be active as far as Second Amendment issues that come up. So, and they have a YouTube channel, so you can follow them on there if you're interested in the Firearms Policy Coalition. So there was a Second Amendment win. I talked about at the end of Edge's chat on Friday, and he's one of the other people on Gun Channel, so he's been on there like forever. Edge of the Week, Edge 4006 is his channel on YouTube, so check him out. And I'm on Gun Channels, gunchannels.com/HVS is where my text is, and there's all kinds of interesting people on Gun Channels. You don't always have to agree with everything they say. I know I don't. But you'll meet a lot of interesting people there. All right. Whoa. Don't need that.
Yeah, you can find out a lot of stuff if you've got questions about pretty much anything firearms. Reloading, sure.
Yeah, because
gun laws. If you have questions about, I learned something last year about firearms insurance from people on Gun Channels, and I ended up changing my insurance policy because I thought my guns were covered and they weren't. And if people hadn't talked to me about it, hadn't said, why don't you look into it, I would have never looked into it. Hopefully I never have to use that insurance, but that's a little minor thing. But just little things like that you can get tips on. Yeah, reloading, gun repairs. If you have questions about, Edge's 1911 chat, there's a good one right there. You're looking to get a 1911, you've got some money, you don't know which one you want to get, but you've only got enough money to get one. maybe you listen to a chat or a show or something like that where people are talking about them, and maybe you start asking questions. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think? Does this? Who makes one with this? Who makes one with that? I'm still, if I get another AK, if I get something other than a Wasser 10, I'd like to get one with a milled trunnion. And I don't know who makes. I know they're stamped, milled, and cast, and I've heard you definitely don't want cast. But other than a Wasser, what's got a milled trunnion? Hell, I don't know. I'm not an AK guy. There's plenty of guys on gun channels that have bought plenty of AKs, or have shot them, or have been in the market for them, and they've done their research, and they can tell you, they can answer questions like that. So,
yeah, I'm definitely try and get a lot of advice after if that deal goes through, and I'm going to have that man cave where I could set up a reloading area, and so I'm going to be listening for all kinds of advice. You know, that Caliber Corner show, it's always, you guys are always over. Basically, by the time I wake up in Hawaii, the show's already over.
Well, yeah, but you can go back and watch it on YouTube anytime.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. It's more fun when it's live, I guess. But so, yeah, I'm going to be trying to learn some more about that and figure out what kind of setup to get. And
you could probably even ask questions on gun channels about setting up your solar system. I know somebody was talking with G-Webs about how to do solar for his van at one point, and they were just doing a whole talk about running the wiring and the electrical and things like that. And there's other preppers on
a solar powered gun show loophole van. That'll be cool.
Yeah, well, no, it's to power all his electrical equipment when he's
streaming.
I guess. Yeah, streaming and stuff like that. But I mean, there's we've got a professional chef on there, Midnight Range TM, and he'll put on videos about cooking. And every Sunday night at 10:30 Eastern, he does a show about guns and the Second Amendment. But he also talks about cooking. And if he pops into any chat, he always turns it into a damn food chat. So I mean, there's all kinds of things. There's now a show for the ladies. Some of the women that are on gun channels, or the wives of some of the guys that are on gun channels, they've started up their own chat, and I think that's great because we need to get more women out there shooting and into the whole firearms thing, because women take to it pretty good. They've got an knack for it, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be out there shooting and being able to defend their family. Yep. So yeah, it's growing right now. Gun Channels has been picking up some steam and growing, and the website's been getting worked on, updated, revamped, and so some things aren't working. One day it'll work, the next day it won't, but it's getting there. But we're getting more and more members, and the shows, it's running now where pretty much every day of the week it's full of shows or getting there, or you'll be able to watch 2 shows, take your pick. So
yeah, glad to hear that. It's just a question of how much time you have that you want to watch YouTube or gun channels shows, really. And spend some of your life doing that. I don't think I want to get back into the 24 hours a day gun channels mode. I was in there for a while once, but I like to have like some kind of regular person life, not just do all internet stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so let's check out the external chat. Jesse James says it's the damn humidity in Indiana. A trapping chat. Here's the thing: in Hawaii, the trapping laws are. I took the hunter's ed course, but the trapping laws aren't clear. There are certain situations where you cannot trap without a very specific permit to trap that's separate from a hunting license. Having traps for shit hits the fan is one thing, but if basically. And I didn't buy the house in the forest that I was looking at, where there would be wild boar, but it's only like a mile or 2 away if I wanted to go find some. And basically, the guy with the 50 acres says he has like a guava tree, and every night the boar come and try and eat the guava. So whenever, if he wants to, he basically just shoots them when they come by on his property, and he has to have like an extra refrigerator for all the meat. So I guess I could always just go to his property and wait at night if I will. But the thing is, in Hawaii, you're not actually allowed to shoot at night. So you're not allowed to hunt at night. Even if you have a hunting permit. So they have some laws like that, and they will, like, if they catch you doing that, then they'll, I mean, if it's on your own 50 acres, they're not going to catch you doing that. But if you go out onto some place where it's state land, or then they have like arrested people, seize their cars, seize their dogs, and euthanize their hunting dogs and euthanize them, so, and their guns. So it's like they don't like people who hunt at night for some reason. Don't ask me why. But that's it. I mean, the hogs are nocturnal, so I mean, basically, it's more challenging during the daytime. If you have dogs, that's what people use the hunting dogs for. They find their hovels, and then the dogs keep them distracted while you sneak up on them and with a knife and dispatch them. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube of people doing that in Hawaii. And then arguing on the internet over whether that's, I mean, it's food. So I don't know. People argue over stupid things on the internet. But if that house deal goes through, there won't be any hogs on my property unless I put them there. And the only thing I'm thinking about getting is a dog. So for my help with my blood pressure. So. And anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. I hope we don't get that there are no side effects from the coronal mass expulsion, CME, which will hit us either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Hopefully, the Earth's magnetosphere is strong enough to shield us from the impact of the today's mass expulsion, I guess. But it's always a good idea. You could check out Space Weather News or Suspicious Observers YouTube channel. They keep pretty much up to date on events from outer space. It's basically just weather, but people don't think that. People think weather. They tune into the Weather Channel and they look at the planet Earth, but the sun's a lot bigger than the Earth, and whatever's happening on the sun has a huge impact on this planet. So it's a good idea to keep up to date on space weather news and the sun, stuff like that. All right, so thanks for tuning in again this week. God bless all of you. He's watching over us, and that means he's watching over you. Tune in next week, and chances are we'll be here on Gun Channels doing another Lock and Load show, talking about guns, freedom, and the truth until dawn. All right. At least we will be in the after chat. So, and so gunchannels.com/HVS is where my text chat is on the Gun Channel side. And stop by and say hello anytime. And if you ever look on the Big Island, let me know. Be happy to show you around. All right. See you next week, guys.
Later.
Yeah. See, where is the off button for this termination chat? Too many buttons. Let's see. Where's my end of show sound?